Why play Katarina Mid? Well, she's an incredible team fighter. She's very strong in 2v2 and 3v3 skirmishes, she's great at roaming, and she can solo carry games by herself. However, her laning phase is not the strongest, and she can get CC'd out of her ultimate and get blown up. Katarina's passive firstly is when an enemy champion dies within 3 seconds of being damaged by her, her abilities cooldowns are reduced by a flat 15 seconds, which will instantly give her back all her basic abilities and take a good amount off her ultimate. Secondly, every time she picks up one of her daggers, she deals damage in an area around her. Katarina's Q is a point and click ability which will bounce up to twice on nearby enemies, dealing damage to all targets hit. Afterwards, it leaves the dagger on the ground behind the primary target. Katarina's W throws a dagger on the floor and gives her a large burst of decaying movement speed. Katarina's E causes her to blink to an ally, an enemy, or one of her daggers. This can be targeted pretty well to jump to any side of the target she needs as long as she's in range. If this is used on an enemy, she will strike them for damage, and if it's used on a dagger, the cooldown is massively refunded. Katarina's ultimate causes her to spin on the spot, dealing a massive amount of damage to up to 3 nearby enemy champions. This ultimate throws out multiple knives with each dealing damage, scaling with her ability power and attack speed while applying 40% grievous wounds. For combos, start with Q before jumping onto an enemy with E. After this, use W into your ultimate. While using ultimate, you'll pick up your dagger dropped by your W for additional damage and resetting your E. This allows you to jump out onto the dagger dropped by the Q regardless of if you've scored takedowns. For matchups, Katarina does great into mages who she can simply full combo, and she can struggle against champions who can easily engage on her and blow her up. For runes, take this, she procs Conqueror incredibly fast. Electrocute also works very well if you need to apply more pressure early. For build orders, start Darkseer refillable into Nash's Tooth, tier 2 boots, and a rocket belt. Following this, a Shadow Flame is great for damage, and a Zhonya's is a great defensive choice before finishing a build with any of these as needed. For skill orders, start Q, then E, then W before maxing Q, then E, then W, taking ult whenever you can. For summoner spells, take Flash and Ignite. Starting the game, how you play is going to change depending on your matchup. Against laners that can poke you out, you're looking to farm where you can and preserve health. Against lanes like these that can hard bully you, you have 2 different ways to win. Firstly, you can hold out until you have your ultimate and then look for your opportunity to blow them up. Otherwise, you're waiting until you have enough damage that you can fast push out the lane and then start roaming. However, against most matchups, you're simply looking to farm hard, poke often, and look for good trades. While farming, every time you have Q available, throw it at your opponent. Especially when you have a few levels in this ability, it really starts to sting. And every time you throw a Q, it leaves a dagger on the floor, which is an opportunity for you to go in and trade. Jumping onto the dagger, using W and attacking is a great burst of damage before using your E to either get back to safety or simply all in. And of course, at level 6, your all in now has incredible kill threat. And when you start to have some control in the lane, you're now able to start pushing in and looking for devastating roams. Entering the mid game, your bot lane will come mid, so your farm is now in the bot lane. Push it out as far as you can safely before roaming back to your team for objectives and fights. Entering late game team fights, you want to play the pure assassin role. You never want to be the person going in first or your teams engage. Wait for the team fight to start and then in the chaos, flank into the fights, jumping onto anything important. This will put you in the middle of their team after they've used a ton of their abilities and lockdown. This will allow you to use your full combo to deal massive amounts of damage across their entire team. From here, any takedown gives you another burst of damage and another blink, which allows you to keep resetting around the team fight, going for kill after kill, and between your Zhonyas and your multiple jumps, you're incredibly hard to lock down and kill.